I'm opening another window. So let's continue now. I hope just tell me if my screen is flickering again. Uh so just a bit of let's come back to this problem number one because it's not in the recording. Okay. So let's continue. Problem number two. Um so what's your answer for this? Okay, 1,440. So again, um the formula for speed is just distance over time, distance over time. So that means that the formula for distance is just speed times time, right? So that means that we can just immediately substitute our given values, no? For speed, we have 6 meters per second. So by the way, it's also useful to put the units, no? Um, because we can cancel out some units and then our final answer would have the correct units, no? So we can check what's the correct unit. So for our time, we have 4 minutes. But take note that this speed is in meters per second. So we must convert this time in minutes to seconds, right? So what's the conversion factor? We have 60 seconds per minute. So in that case, we can cancel out the second, the units for seconds. We can cancel out the minutes. So we will have 6 times 4 times 60, which is equal to 1,440. And we will be left with what unit? We have meters. And that's correct, right? Distance should be in meters because we're dealing in meters per second uh, as our speed. So as most of you shared, your answer is 1,440. Okay. So let's move on to problem number three. So you can just always share your answers in chat. Hmm? So I can see your responses. Okay. How about for number three? So a lot of you are saying 60. So let's solve. So this is still a bit similar, no? Peter walks for 300 meters. So again, this is the distance. And his walking speed is 5 meters per second. How many seconds is or are required? So instead of finding out the distance, now we want to find the time. So from formula again, that speed is equal to distance over time. So we're using the same formula. So if you multiply time, both sides of the equation, you will have time here. And then divide the speed. So we just moved some terms. So we will have this formula now. So our distance is 300 meters. Our speed is 5 meters per second. So this is just 60 seconds. So as you may notice, no, it is again useful to have the units because we can cancel out these meters and then the seconds become in the numerator now. So again, guys, didn't I tell you to only share relevant messages in chat? So again, no, please stop sending unnecessary messages in chat. Okay? Please stop sending unnecessary messages in chat. Only contribute to the discussion, no? Please don't talk about anime or whatever it may be, no, that is unrelated to our discussion because it will disrupt our lecture. So it will cause um it will disturb your other classmates. So please just stop now. Stop sending unnecessary messages. So let's move on to number four. John needs 21 days to finish a project. Mary needs 42 days to finish the same project. If John and Mary do the project together, how long do they finish it? Yes, so you're a lot of you are saying 14. Okay, let's solve. So when we're talking in these kinds of problem, this is just work rate, no? Rate of work. Uh rate of work. This is the kind of problem that we're dealing with. So for John, what's his work rate? It is 1 over 21. So why is that? Because he can finish one project per 21 days. So another way of saying is that we can say that he can finish in a day 1 over 21 of the project. Okay? And then for Mary, her work rate is 1 over 42. Therefore, their combined rate is what? Combined rate is, you just have to add them, no? 1 over 21 plus 1 over 42. So we will have the LCD of 42. So we'll have 1. And then for the second term, 40. Sorry, this is not 1 pala. So 42 divided by 21, we have 2 times 1. So that's just 2. And then for the second term, this is just 1 over 42, no? So this becomes 3 over 42, which we can simplify as 1 over 14. So that means that their combined rate is 1 over 14, but we're talking about how long do they need to finish it. So we want to find the time, no? Or how many days. So in that case, we will get the reciprocal of this. So days or time is just equal to 1 over 1 over 14. So that's just equal to 14 days. Just as most of you answered, no? So please don't be aggressive in chat, no? Avoid using profanities or a lot of exclamation points. So let's move on to problem number 5. How do we solve this? Ming's grandmother's age this year adds 14, multiplies 2, minuses 56, and then divides by 9. The result will be 16 years old. How old is Ming's grandmother this year? So just as Tober mentioned, we should work backwards, no? So our ending result age is 16 years old. So we have to work our way backwards. So a lot of you are saying 86, but there's some different answers. No? So let's find this out. So we start from our resulting age. So the result would be 16 years old. Then we work our way backwards. So the last operation that the problem did is dividing by 9. So the opposite of that is what? Multiply by 9. No? Let me check a bit. 16. Yes, so we have to multiply by 9, no? So this is equal to 144. And then the second to the last step, they minus 56. So in that case, we have to add 56 to 144, no? That would be equal to 200. And then the next step is multiplying by 2. So the opposite of that is dividing by 2. So we have 200 divided by 2. So you will get 100. So I'm just doing this step by step, no, to show you more clearly. So you can do the operations directly, no? But in this case, I'm doing the step by step so we avoid any mistakes. So we have 100, and the first operation was they add 14. So in this case, we subtract 14 because that's the opposite of addition, right? We have 86. So this is the final answer. So also, to avoid mistakes, you can check, no, your answer. So for example, you check your answer is 86, and then you do the same thing forward. So 86, add 14, you will get 100, then multiply by 2, 200, and then subtract 56, you will get 144, and dividing by 9, you will get 16. So that's correct, no? That's our end result. Okay? There's no confusion with this? Okay, so let's move on to our last problem in logical thinking. A stationery store had a batch of ball pens. One half and 5 more pens were sold on the first day. One half of the remaining part and 8 more pens were sold on the second day. Finally, 24 ball pens are left. How many ball pens did the stationery store have originally? So can you guys share your answers? So Farm and Alberta and Yale answered 138. Oh, so just as Tober mentioned, we can also work our way backwards with this problem, right? So how do we do that? So let's use some variables now so that we can track our answer. So let's use P, the letter P, as our variable for number of pens, okay? And let's use R. This is the remaining pens after the first day, okay? After first day. So notice if we're working our way backwards, no? So we would start with the second day. Second day. So on the second day, how many number of pens were sold? So pens sold on day 2. That should be one half of the remaining part and 8 more. So we are saying, right, that R is the remaining pens after first day. So we can say that the pens sold on day 2 is one half of R plus 8, right? One half of the this says here, the remaining part is from the first day, right? So that's why we're using R. One half of R plus 8. And then, that means that the remaining, we can use R minus one half of R plus 8 is equal to 24, right? Because on the second day, we will be starting with R because that's the remaining number of pens after the first day. And then we solved one half R plus 8. So we're subtracting that, no? And then we get 24 because that's our final number of pens after the second day. So this becomes R minus one half R is just one half R. So I'm just distributing the negative sign, okay? So the positive 8 becomes negative 8. So we have 24. So one half R is equal to 24 plus 8, which is equal to 32. So R is just equal to 2 times 32, which is equal to 64. So that means that after the first day, we have 64 pens left. So now we can deal with our first day. So on the pens sold is what? Pens sold is equal to P minus one half P plus 5, right? Because we're starting off, this is the original number of pens is P. So one half and 5 more pens. So one half P plus 5 is what we sold. And then our original number of pens is P. So this is equal to R, right? And we already found that R is equal to 64. So we have P minus 1 half P if we distribute. And then the positive 5 becomes negative 5. So this is equal to 64. So 1 half P is just equal to 64 plus 5, which is equal to 69. And then we just multiply 2 both sides. So we'll have P is equal to 2 times 69, which is equal to 138. So this is our correct answer. So again, you can just check, no, by working your way forwards in this time. So you work 138, you get 1 half and 5 of that, and then you do the same thing. No? So okay. So Tober is also sharing a similar solution, no? So this is just one way. I'm sharing you this method so that there's no confusion, no? We're tracking all of our number of pens after the first day and after the second day. So you can do the shortcut method that you prefer if you're comfortable with it. So let's move on to problem number 7. We are now in arithmetic, no? So what's your answer for this one? Number 7. So you can okay, so I'm just reading your messages. So from here, we can actually we can observe some pattern, no? So let's start with 1 times 1, for example. That's just equal to 1. Now we will have two digits, no? 11 times 11. 121. And then 111 times 111. So I'm just writing this pattern. This is equal to 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. So 1111 times 1111. You will get 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. So what's the pattern that we can notice from here? So if we have an odd number of digits, no, we're multiplying 1 times 1. Our result is um odd, never mind. So our result is always an odd number digit, no? As you may notice, this has 1 digit, this has 3 digits, this is 5 digits, this is 2, 4, 6, this is 7 digits, no? So you can expect that the next one would have what? 9 digits, and then the next would have 11 digits, right? And then what can you notice from here? 1, 2, 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. So the middle digit is what? Just the number of digits of what we multiplied, right? As you may note, this has 2 digits, and then the middle term says the number of digits is 2. This one has 3 digits. That's why our middle number is 3. And this one has 4 digits, and the middle number is 4, or middle digit. So what would be our expectation for the next in our pattern? So if we have 5 digits of 1, 11,111 times 11,111, you will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that would have 9 digits, right? And if we have this from our problem, 111,111, so this has 6 digits, so our middle digit would be 6. So our answer would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So this is our answer, no? This is 12,345,654,321. So no need to write the commas. So you can just write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So just observe the pattern, no? So someone is also sharing another method. So it's up to you, no? Whichever you prefer. Um, because you can look at it another way, no? You can observe different patterns. But for my case, this is the pattern that is most convenient, no? So let's move on to problem number 8. Now, how about this one? How do we solve this? Find the value of 1 over 1 times 2, um, plus 1 over 2 times 3, plus 1 over 3 times 4, and so on up to 1 over 21 times 22. Because the AI checker will put it wrong if you have commas. Yes. So I think in the final round, your test questionnaires will, or your answers will be checked by human, no? Not by AI. But still be careful with your final answers. Okay, so let's solve this. So this is what we call a telescoping sequence, no? If you recall from your reviews, this is what we call a telescoping sequence. So we can use this identity if we have 1 over n times n plus k. We can rewrite this as 1 over k times 1 over n minus 1 over n plus k. So in this case, notice that our sequence here is just 1 over n times n plus 1, right? As you may notice, because for the first one, we have 1 over 1 times 2. So the n here would be 1, and then the next term would be n plus 1, which is 2. And then the same, no, for the rest of the terms. So in this case, if we're using this, then our k is just equal to 1, right? So we can, this simplifies to 1 over n minus 1 over n plus 1, okay? Therefore, this one, we can just rewrite as 1 over 1 minus 1 over 2 plus, let's put some parentheses, no? So we're not confused. 1 over 2, 1 half minus 1 third plus 1 third minus 1 fourth, and then so on, no? Let's fill in the gaps. And then the last two terms is 1 over 20 minus 1 over 21 plus 1 over 21 minus 1 over 22. So you can rewrite it that way, no? And then from this one, most of these terms cancel out, no? This one we have negative 1/2. This is positive 1/2. That cancels out. This is negative 1/3 and positive 1/3 cancels out. So in between the middle terms, we're expecting that it will follow the same pattern. So this also cancels out. This one, and this one. So we will be left with 1 minus 1 over 22. So that's just equal to 22 minus 1 all over 22. So this is just 21 over 22. Okay? So this one, this telescoping sequence, no, this formula or identity is very useful, no? Please be familiar with this one. So not all of the times that our k is just 1, no? So sometimes, let's for example, in the finals, you will have 1 over 2 times 4 plus 1 over 4 times 6. So in that case, your k is 2, no? The common difference between the what you're multiplying is 2. Okay? So it's not all of the time that it simplifies to 1 here. Okay, so the correct answer is 21 over 22. So let's move on to problem number 9. How about this one? What's our method for this? And what's your answer first? Share your answers for this one. Find the value of 1 times 2 plus 2 times 3 plus 3 times 4 and so on until 19 times 20. So a lot of you are saying 2,660. So let's confirm. Sorry. So just as the previous, no, we can notice that we have n times n plus 1, no? And then we sum it up. So this symbol that I'm using here is summation. So this is what we call sigma notation. This is just saying sum of. Sum of. So we're saying sum of n times n plus 1, no? Because we have, if our n is 1, then n plus 1 is 2, and so on, no? So the next would be 2 times 3, and so on. So notice that n times n plus 1, you can just rewrite also as n squared plus n. Right? So, right, if we distribute n, you will have n squared plus n. So that means that we can rewrite our series as n squared plus n. So we will have 1 squared um, plus 1, and then 2 squared plus 2, and so on, no? Until the last is 19. 19 squared plus 19. Sorry, it stops at 19 squared. Because that's the last term. And then we can actually separate, no, the two series. So we can also rewrite as 1 squared plus 2 squared until 19 squared. And then we can separate the natural numbers of 1 plus 2 until 19. Yes. So the last term n is 19, right? Because our last n plus 1 is 20. So Phil is raising his hand. So you have a question, Phil?
That's just my country po. Philippines po.
Sorry, Alfonso pala. Sorry. So you have a
Um,
question?
I just said po that 19 times 20 is just 19 squared and 19 po.
Yes, yes, yes.
Because you
So,
erased it earlier.
yes, yes. So you can also see that from here, no? We're saying that n times n plus 1. So that in our last term, that would be, our n would be 19, and then our n plus 1 is 20, right? So that's why our last n is just 19, not 20. Okay? Our last n is
Sir,
19,
but
and then our last n plus 1 is 20. That's why when we have this n squared plus n, we stop at 19 squared, not 20 squared. Okay? So how about Nathan? You also have a question?
isn't it supposed to be 19 squared plus 13?
What? I'm sorry, I didn't hear it properly or
Isn't it
clearly.
supposed to be 19 squared plus 19?
Yes, it's 19 squared plus 19. That's why I'm sorry, I didn't finish here, no. But as you may notice, when I separated the two, I put 19 here, right? So we separated the square terms. So we have 1 squared plus 2 squared up to 19 squared. And then we separated the natural numbers. No? So we actually have a formula for sum of squares. Our formula is n times n plus 1 times 2n plus 1. Do you guys recall this? All over 6. So this is sum of squares. Sum of squares of the first n natural numbers. Okay? So that would be the formula. And we also have a formula for the sum of the first natural numbers, which is just n times n plus 1 all over 2. This one is sum of n, our first n natural numbers. Okay, so you guys have to familiarize with yourself with these sums. So from here, we can just put our n. So, excuse me, there's some feedback with your microphone, whoever is turning on their microphone. Please now again, turn off your microphone if you're not given permission to. Okay, so that's our formula for the sum of squares of the first n natural numbers, which is precisely what we have with this, no? With this first series or sequence. And then we also have this sum of natural numbers from 1 to 19. That's why we have this. So we can, our last n is 19, no? So we have 19 times 19 plus 1 times 2 times 19 plus 1 all over 6. And then plus, this one is 19 times 19 plus 1 all over 2. So this simplifies to 19 times 20. 2 times 19 is what? 38 plus 1. So that's 39 all over 6. And then this one is just 19 times 20 all over 2. So again, please guys, I don't want to always tell you, no, always remind you that you should not share unnecessary messages in chat. So can you not understand my rules? So please stop sending unnecessary messages in chat. So this one is what? 19 times. Also, again, no, please mute your microphones. Please, everyone. Okay. So what's 19 times 20 times 39 all over 6? You would have 2,470. Is that correct? And then we have 19 times 20 over 2, and that's equal to 190. So the sum of that is just what? 2,660. So that would be our final answer. So any questions for this problem? None? Let's move on to number 10. Find the value of 1,003 squared minus 997 squared. So share your answers again in chat. So you guys are saying 12,000, a lot of you. So let's solve, no? So you guys recall the identity that a squared minus b squared. So we have this identity, no? This is equal to a minus b times a plus b. So familiarize yourselves with this, no? With this identity. So if we have 1,003 squared minus 997 squared, we can just rewrite as our a and b are 1,003 and 997 respectively, right? So we can rewrite this as 1,003 minus 997 times 1,003 plus 997. So this is just equal to what? 6, right? And then this one is equal to 2,000. Therefore, our answer is just 6 times 2,000, which is just equal to 12,000. So the most important thing here is you know this identity, no? So you can simplify it this way. Yes, so it's simple now if you know the formula or the identity. So let's have problem number 11. Find the value of 1/2 plus 1/4 plus 1/8 plus 1/16 plus 1 over 32 plus 1 over 64. So this is not actually a geometric sum, no, because it stops here Yes, this is a geometric sum, but you can just immediately apply addition, no? If you add this, you will have the LCD of what? 64, right? So 64 divided by 2, that's equal to 32 times 1, that's just 32. And then 64 divided by 4, you will get 16, right? Times 1, that's just 16. 64 divided by 8, you will get 8 times 1, that's just 8. 64 divided by 16 is just 4, times 1 is just 4. And we have 64 divided by 32 is just 2, right? Times 1 is just 2. And then the final one is just 1. So you can just immediately apply this now. You can just immediately add the terms. Yes, you can just solve it like a normal fraction. So add the terms in the numerator. 32 plus 16 plus 8 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1 is just what? 63, right? So this is just 63 over 64. So you guys can go to the restroom for the one who messaged me. So Marcus said first thought is geometric. So that's actually a geometric sequence. But in this case, we can just simply add, no? So we don't have to use the formula, but you can use if you want to. So problem number 12, find the value of 2.01 times 10 plus 2.01 times 20 plus 2.01 times 30 plus 2.01 times 40. So what's your answer for this? Nathan and G answered 201. How about the others? What's your answer? Wansho, Min, same answer, no? So a lot of you are saying 201. So let's solve. So notice that we can factor out the 2.01, no? Because each of the terms have this. So we can factor this out. So you will be left with 10 plus 20 plus 30 plus 40. So you can just immediately add the terms inside the parentheses, right? So that's equal to 10 plus 20 plus 30 plus 40 is just equal to 100, right? So 2.01 times 100, that's just equal to 201. So as simple as that, no, if you factor out the 2.01. So I guess there's no problem with this because a lot of you are sharing the same answer. How about problem number 13? Define the operation symbol A, cross, or what do you call this? B. A times B plus B plus 7. Find the value of this operation. So a lot of you are saying 87, so let's solve. So the best way is to solve first this, no? The operation inside the parentheses, because recall PEMDAS, we want to find this first. So let's have that 2x3. Let's apply this formula. So that's 2 times 3 plus 3 plus 7. So this is equal to what? 2 times 3 is 6 plus 3 plus 7 is 10. So that's just equal to 16. So that means that our 4x, 2x3, this is just equal to 4x16, right? Then we can apply the same formula. So 4 times 16 plus 16 plus 7. So what's 4 times 16? You have 64. How about 16 plus 7? That's equal to 23, right? So 64 plus 23 is just equal to 87. So you just apply the formula, no? And don't forget that you have to find the operation inside the parentheses first. You have to do that first. Okay? So how about problem number 14? Find the number of factors for 901. So your answer is 4. So again, this problem is formula-based, no? The formula for this, if we have a number and its prime factorization is P1, let's say P1 to the power of E1 times P2 to the power of E2, and so on. So if you have a number, no, and then this is its prime factorization. So the prime factors are P1, P2, and so on, no? And then their exponents are E1, E2, and so on. So we have a formula for this that the number of factors is just equal to what? is just equal to the first exponent plus 1, multiply that by the second exponent plus 1, and so on, right? This is just our formula. So for 901, what's the prime factorization of 901? This is equal to 17 times 53. So 17 to the power of 1 times 53 to the power of 1. So that means that our number of factors is just equal to 1 plus 1 times 1 plus 1. So that's just equal to 2 times 2, which is equal to 4. Okay? So you're concerned with it's not saying the positive factors, but immediately if we have this kind of problem, we have that assumption that it only means positive. So who was it that's raising their hand? Okay, Alfonso wants to ask a question.
Last time po, it was when that happened, I got it wrong because I didn't consider the negative po.
Okay. Hmm. So in this case, no, how about in your previous review? Did you also consider negative factors? Because in my solution or my solution manual here in our answer key, this is the correct answer given. So you have to, I think what we want to do here is we want to confirm it with admin also what's really uh the question when we have this kind of problem. So maybe it's another competition. So Wancho also wants to ask a question. Yes, Wancho?
It also happened the same to me when I was in was in a FEMO. I mean at HKIM.
Ah,
When
okay. So that's in a different competition.
no, it's I said HKIM po. They had
Ah,
it there, and then tapos they considered the negative because it doesn't say a positive po. Only
hmm.
positive
Yeah,
factors.
so technically that should be the correct answer because it's saying number of factors, right? So it should consider positive and negative. So in that case, our answer would be 8 because we have to multiply by 2, no? But I don't know. The answer given to me was 4. So we have to ask this to admin, no? What's really the accepted answer for this kind of problem? So Alfonso, you still have a question?
Forgot to put it down.
Okay, okay. So let's move on to problem number 15 and then we will have a short break, okay? So let's have problem number 15 first. The sum of 5 consecutive numbers is 125. Find the middle number. What's your answer? Okay, so a lot of you are saying 25. And you're saying that it's just 125 divided by 5 is equal to 25. So that's actually correct, no? But why is that? Why can we immediately do this divide by 5? Because we just have 5 consecutive numbers, right? And if we want to find the middle number, that would be the median. But in this case, because we just have 5 consecutive numbers, then the median is just equal to the average, right? That's why we can just we can just immediately divide by the number of terms. By the way, our 5 consecutive numbers are what? 23, 23 plus 24 plus 25 plus 26 plus 27. This is equal to 125. So you can just confirm, no? To check, to confirm your answer, to verify that this is indeed the middle number. Okay? So easiest question? Yes. So just as also Dimas shared here in chat, x minus 2, you can also use that, no, if it's a bit harder question. You let x be equal to the middle number, and then x minus 1 for the left number, and so on, no? And you will still come up with the same answer. So at this point, we're halfway there. Let's have the problem number 16 first before we have our break. The sum of positive numbers a and b is 480. A is 5 times of b. Find the value of a. So what's your answer for this one? 400? A lot of you are saying 400. Okay. So we can have the equation a and b is equal to 480. From here, no, sum of positive numbers a and b is 480. And then a is 5 times of b. Right? So this, you can just substitute, no? to this equation. So this one becomes, A becomes 5B plus B is equal to 480. So that's just equal to 6B over 480. So B is just equal to 480 over 6. So this is equal to what? This is equal to 80. But what we want, the question is find the value of A. So we have to return to this, no? A is equal to 5 times 80, which is what we got here. And this is equal to 400. So because we're already past halfway, we will have a short break, okay? Let's have a 5-minute break. So we will return at 10:12 a.m., okay? Oh, before we have our break, Noah wants to ask a question.
Will you be asking the admins what about whether the answer is 4 or 8 in question 14 while we have the break?
Okay, so I will ask it now. Okay. So we will return at 10:12. So Noah, thanks for mentioning it. So see you guys again at 10:12 a.m.
Thank you, sir.
So hi again. It's already 10:12, so let's continue now. So again, because we're now continuing our session, please stop na our unrelated discussion in chat, okay? So let's continue. Oh, by the way, I still didn't receive a confirmation from admin, no? So we will come back to it later when I receive a response. Okay? So we have problem number 17. How many three-digit numbers that can be divisible by 3 and of units digit 5 is or are there? So what's your answer for this one? Only Nathan answered? Oh, wait. Okay, share your answers now while we solve the problem. So three-digit numbers that can be divisible by 3 and of units digit 5. So let's start with the smallest one. So what would be the smallest number that fits this description? That would be 105, right? As you may notice, this has a units digit of 5. And then it is divisible by 3 because the sum of its digits is divisible by 3, right? So as you may notice, the sum of its digits is just 1 plus 0 plus 5, which is 6. And this is divisible by 3. So what would be the next number after this? We have 135, right? Still units digit of 5. And then to make the sum of digits still divisible by 3, so we just add 3, no? So again, please mute your microphones, no? Matt, Matt Joshua, can you please turn off your microphone? So I can turn it off from here. Okay. So what would be the next? 165 and so on, no? Matt, hello, Matt Joshua. Can you please turn off your microphone? Sorry. So again, no, everyone, please turn off your microphone so that you don't disturb the class. To those who want to go to the toilet, you can. So this is our pattern, no? Notice that we added just 3 to the sum of digits so that we still follow the requirement. So that means that we have an arithmetic series with a common difference of 30, right? The final terms would be 915. If you finish this sequence, 975. So if you add the digits now here, and here, you will get a number that is divisible by 4. So you can verify now. Oh. Matt, can you please turn off your microphone? Right? So as you may notice, this is just arithmetic sum, no? With common difference of 30. So we have someone asked me how many questions are there. So we have a total of 30 problems. So this is just arithmetic sequence or arithmetic sum. I know, not sum, sequence pala. Sequence. So we can use the formula an is equal to a1 plus n minus 1 times d. So d is our common difference. A1 is the first term. An is the last term. And n is the number of terms. Now, the problem here is how many three-digit numbers, right? So what we're looking for is n. Okay? So let's substitute our values. What's our an, our last term? That should be 975, right? So if you want to verify that, the sum of its digit is 9 plus 7 plus 5, which is equal to 21. And this one is divisible by 3. So that's the largest that we can have now, largest three-digit. So our first term, again, is 105. So n is our unknown. And then our common difference, we found out to be 30. So we have 975 minus 105 is equal to n minus 1. So we can just divide 30 now. So that means that our n is just equal to this one plus 1, right? If we transpose the minus 1. So 975 minus 105 is equal to 870 over 30. 870 divided by 30 is equal to 29. Plus 1, that's just equal to 30. Okay? So Noah wants to ask a question. Yes, Noah?
Teacher, I actually interpreted this problem as how many three-digit numbers are there that are divisible by 15 and end in 5? Because when you think about it, 15 basically has all the fives in the
Yes.
three-digit three multiples.
Yes, you can interpret it that way, but you would still have the same answer, right?
Yes.
Yes, so you will still have the same answer. So because if you have divisibility by 3 and the units digit is 5, so just as Noah mentioned, that is also divisible by 15. So that's a correct interpretation. And we still have the same answer, right? Okay. So let's have problem number 18. How about this one? What's your answer? There are three prime numbers. Their product is 70. And then find the value of the largest number among these three numbers. So we have three prime numbers. Product is 70. So we can just test this, no? So a lot of you are saying 7. So please don't spam in chat. So you can just test this, no? You will find out, for example, if you have 2 times 3 times 5, what's that? That's 30. So that's incorrect. And if you find 70, what's its prime factorization? That's just 2 times 5 times 7. So no need pala for this. So this is just the prime factorization of 70. We immediately got the three prime numbers, no? And what's the biggest among them? That's just 7. So as simple as that, no? If you know how to find the prime factorization. So by the way, you guys are already familiar with that, right? The way you find the prime factorization is you just divide continuously by a prime number that it is divisible to. For example, 70. For example, 70, this is divisible by 2, no? So if you divide by 2, you will get 35. So one of your prime factors is 2, and then 35 that's divisible by 5, and you will get 7. So the other prime factors are 5 and 7. Okay? No confusion with this one? Again, please stop spamming now. Okay, let's move on to problem number 19. The perimeter of an equilateral triangle is 48 and the height is 5. Find the area. What's your answer for this? So suppose we have an equilateral triangle. So if the perimeter is 48, what's the perimeter of an equilateral triangle? That's just 3 times the side length, right? Because the side lengths are equal. So this is equal to 48. So the side length is just equal to 48 over 3, which is equal to what? 16. Huh? So this side is 16, this one is also 16, and the last side, because this is equilateral. So the height is given to be 5. So this one is 5. So our area is just 1/2 of the base times the height. So we can just immediately plug in our values. So our base is 16 and our height is 5. So 1/2 times 16 is 8 times 5. This is just equal to 40. So Dimas wants to ask a question. Yes,
Uh,
Dimas?
I think it's impossible if the height is 5, sir. Because if we
Uh,
select Pythagoras, like
yes,
8,
yes, yes.
16, this is 8 root 3.
So, that good of you know to point this out. So this problem is actually impossible, as you mentioned, but we just have to deal with what we're given, right? So we just have to use the formula. Although this does not make sense in in the actual world, these dimensions, no, does not actually make sense. But we can just interpret it in a way, in a hypothetical way. So we just have to deal with what we're given. So just use the formula, no. But this should be an incorrect answer, just as you got Dimas mentioned, no. So good of you for pointing that out. But let's move on. Number 20, the sum in the area of two squares. So this should be the sum of, not in. The sum of the area of two squares with integral side length is 100. And then what is the side length of the larger square? So you guys are saying 8. So area of two squares with integral side length is 100. So side length of the larger square. So if we have two squares and they have integer side lengths, that means that their area are perfect squares, right? Perfect squares. So another way of looking into this problem is we just have to find two perfect squares that add up to 100, right? So this is how we interpret it. We just have to find two perfect squares that add up to 100. Yes, so that's actually also Pythagorean triple. So what are two numbers that we can have this? That is just 6 squared and 8 squared, right? Because this is 36 and this is 64, and those add up to 100. So if you don't immediately get this, you can just test, no? Other integers. For example, you get 5 squared, and then you subtract 5 squared from 100. So that would be 75, right? 100 minus 5 squared, that would be 75. But 75 is not a perfect square. So if you do this by trial and error, you will still get 6 squared and 8 squared. So because the question is what is the side length of the larger squared? So we have 8. Okay? No confusion with this problem. Okay, so let's move on to problem number 21. What is the sum of exterior angles of a heptagon or a 7-sided polygon? So take note that this is sum of exterior angles. So what is our rule for sum of exterior angles? Take note that for any polygon or regular polygon in this case, the sum of exterior angles is always 360 degrees, right? Yes, so this is the most straightforward problem. It's just asking us the sum of exterior angles. So that's immediately 360. So whatever the polygon may be given to us, the answer is always 360. But if you're asked what's the exterior angle for a regular heptagon, then you have to divide by 7, right? So Leandros Alfonso wants to ask a question. Yes,
I,
Alfonso?
I accidentally found the interior po.
Okay. So just be careful, no? In the final round, always be careful to read and reread the problem so you don't you avoid making mistakes like that, no? So someone raised their hand. You still have a question? I didn't catch who raised their hand. Okay. How about problem number 22? Oh, by the way, Alfonso, do you still have a question? Okay. A pyramid has 1,002 vertices. How many faces does this pyramid have? The answer is just 1,002. But why is that? Why is the answer 1,002? So notice that if a pyramid, the pyramid will look like this, right? For example, we have this base. Let me redraw that. For example, the base is just this polygon. It does not have 1,002 vertices now. So that would be our pyramid looking from above or from below, sorry. Example, that's our pyramid. And then we have let's have this instead. So that's just an example, no? If you want to count the number of vertices, then you just have to find the number of sides of the base polygon, right? For example, this is a quadrilateral, so it has 4 vertices. And then you just add 1. So vertices is just number of sides of polygon base, right? Polygon base plus 1, because you have to take account at the apex, or this one, no, the vertex at the top. But the question is how many faces? So how do we count the number of faces? Again, this is just number of sides plus 1. Why is that? Because if we have this base polygon, we have 4 sides, right? Then the face would make also 4 sides, no? And then we have to account the base, the face, no, of the base. So that's plus 1. That's why from this one, our number of vertices is 1002. So it would be equal to the number of faces. Right? So how about problem number 23? Find the area of the shaded region in the figure. What's your answer for this? 42. Please stop spamming again, Pumpkin. So there's different answers in the chat, no? So let's solve this. So the easiest way for us to solve this is what? Let's first find the overall area of the whole figure. And then we can just subtract the unshaded part, right? So how do we solve for the overall area? So overall area, it's just the sum of the 2 squares, right? We have the first square is 10 squared. And then this smaller one is just 8 squared. So that's just equal to 100 plus 64, which is 164. And now we want to find the unshaded area. So this one, this is a triangle, right? So the area is 1/2 of the base, which is 10, and the height is also 10. Plus, this other triangle, also unshaded, 1/2. What's the base of this one? That's just 10 plus 8, right? 10 plus 8, and then the height is just 8. So this is just equal to 100 divided by 2. This is just 50. Oh, please again, stop spamming in chat. Shmuel Tovi. So 1/2 of 10 plus 8, this is 18 times 8 over 2. So we can just rewrite this. Let's have 8 over 2. This is 4 times 18. So 4 times 18 is equal to 72. So 72 plus 50 is 122. So that means that the shaded area is just equal to the overall area of 164 minus the unshaded area of 122. So you will get 42. Okay, so that's the simplest way we can get it, no? Because the shaded area is composed of these two shapes, and the easier way is to just subtract, no? So Alfonso wants to ask a question again. Yes, Alfonso?
Will you send the solution paper for this, Pop?
Yes, I think the answer key for this one will just be sent to you. If you if admin fails to send you, then you can just ask for it, okay?
Okay.
But I think it will be sent to your email. So let's have problem number 24. At most, how many lines can be formed by using 18 points on a plane? So what's your answer for this? Anyone? So a lot of you are saying 153. So how do we interpret this question? For example, we have 18 points on a plane. This is a simpler example. Suppose we have 4 lines. Then how many lines can we form by connecting the points that we have? Like that, like that, like that, right? But the simpler way to solve this, so to form a line, we just need 2 points, no? 2 points to form a line. So that's essentially what it's asking. We just need 2 points to form a line. So the best way to solve this is to just interpret it as 18 choose 2. So this is combination, no? Combination formula. So if you guys are not familiar, but by now, no, you're already in final round, so you should be familiar with this already. Combination formula. This is a combination formula. Let's have this, no? Let's write this. NCK is just equal to n factorial over k factorial times n minus k factorial. Therefore, 18 choose 2 is just equal to 18 factorial over 2 factorial times 18 minus 2 factorial. So we can expand this numerator, 18 times 17 times 16, but we can just stop here, 16 factorial. We don't have to expand further because this one, 16 factorial, we can just cancel out, right? So it's simpler for us. So 18 divided by 2 is just 9 times 17. So this is just equal to 153. So by now you should be familiar with combinatorics formula, no? Just like combination. So any question for this one? None? So let's move on to 25. If Andy goes from point B to point A, each step can only move down or move left. Then how many ways is or are there? So we're already in combinatorics, no? So a lot of you are answering 40. So what's our method for this question? So we have to look at the intersections, no? At the points.
Yes.
And then we count how many ways we can get there. So for this first point, for example, there's only one way to get there, right? Same for this point, and this point. There's only one way to get there. But for example, this point, how many ways can we get here? We can just add this one and this one, right? We can move left or down. So we can add 1 plus 1. So this is 2. And then this one, we can add 2 plus 1. So that's 3. How about this point? We have 3 plus 1. So that's 4. Okay? Because we can move left or down, so we can add the number of ways from its top, no? For example, we have this point, we add the number of ways from the top and the right because we're moving from left or down. Okay? So for this one, we also have only one way. Same for this and same for this. Because we can just move left, right? How about this one? This is also just 1. And here we intersect, no? We have 1 and we have 2 here. So we have 3. How about this point? We have 3 plus 3, so we will have 6. And then this one, we have 6 plus 4, so we will have 10. How about this one? 1 plus 1, this is just 2. This one is just 2 plus 3, so we will have 5. And this one, we have 5 plus 6, so that's just 11. So this at the bottom most, we have 11 plus 20, plus 10 rather. So that's just 21. So this one, 1 plus 2, so you will get 3. 3 plus 5, so you will get 8. And then this one, 8 plus 11, you will get 19. So finally, at point A, we will have 19 plus 21. So that's just equal to 40. Okay? So as simple as that, as long as you know the method. No? Yes, so this is the critical, no? Critical information. You can only move down or move left. That's why we're adding, no? Those coming from the left, those going to the left, and those going down. Okay? So just review your, what do you call this? Imagine if you count manually. So just the best way, no? You just have to add the number of ways from those points. So let's move on to problem number 26. Use digits 1, 2, 3, and 4 to form a 4-digit number such that the tens digit and the thousands digit are even. And the units digit are odd. how many 4-digit numbers is or are there? So what's your answer for this one? So we only have 4 numbers to choose from, no? 1, 2, 3, and 4 as our digits. Note also that this just immediately mean that they should not repeat. We only have these 4 numbers. No repetition. So that's just implied, no? No repetition. So for our 10 thousands digit, for example, we have this 4 places, no, for our digits. This is the thousands digit, the hundreds, the tens, and then finally the units one. For our, what do you call this? For our thousands digit, we only have even numbers, so either 2 or 4. So we only have 2 options. And then for the tens digit, for this one, we only have odd digits, so either 1 or 3. So we have 2 options for this one. So if you already used either 2 or 4 from here, then for the hundreds digit, you're only left with 1.
One.
And then also
Yo,
1 here, right?
Four.
So again, please mute your microphones, no? Or else I may have to remove you if you repeatedly offend. So Marcos has a question. Yes, Marcos?
I think in the question it says that tens digit and thousands digit are even.
Okay. So there's a tens digit and 10,000s pala. Let me check. No, Marcos. I think it's the tens digit and thousands digit. Okay. Yes. Tens digit and thousands digit are even. So Marcos is correct. Sorry. So in that case, this is incorrect, no? Well, the hundreds and units digit are odd. So this one we can also have either 2 or 4. This one we can have either 1 or 3. And this one. So this is reversed, no? But you will still get the same answer. But our previous interpretation or my previous interpretation is wrong. So this is just equal to 4. So again, let's recap, no? For the thousands digit, we either have 2 or 4 because it should be even. So we have 2 choices. But for our what do you call this? For our tens digit, we also have an even number. So if you already use an even number here, so you will be left with only one option, right? For example, if you use the digit 2 here, then you will only have 4 as your tens digit. The other way around, if you used 4 here, then you can have only 2 here, no? So you only have one choice. The same way for our hundreds digit and our units digit, no? Same interpretation. Yes, Patrick, you have a question?
Yeah, but in the question it doesn't say without repetition.
Your volume is a bit low, Patrick. Can you speak louder?
But in the question I think there's no without repetition.
It does not say that there's no repetition. Is that your concern?
Yeah.
But take note that the question is use digits 1, 2, 3, and 4. This just implies or tells us that we can just use these 4 digits. It's immediately implied that we can't repeat, no? Because this is a 4-digit number that we always have to use all those 4 digits. Okay? That's our interpretation of the problem.
Okay.
Okay, Patrick? Okay. So no questions left for this one? Let's move on to 27. How about this one, guys? What's your answer for this, everyone? Andy has 28 $1 and $2 coins altogether. He has $37 in total. How many $2 coins does he have? You guys are answering 9? Okay, a lot of you are saying 9. So how do we solve this one? Suppose we use A for number of $1 coins. So number of $100 coins. And then we have B for number of $2 coins. Okay? So we use the variables A and B. So from our problem, A plus B is equal to 28. Yes, same solution as chicken and rabbit, right? So as you may see, we have 28 $1 coins, so that's A. And then the number of $2 coins is B. So add them up, you will have 28 total. And then, how about for the value? For the value, we can just say 1A, or that's just A, right? And then 2B. So 2 times B, so $2 times the amount, the number of $2 coins plus $1, or times the number of $1 coins, so you will get $37, right? So this is just a system of two equations. So we can either use substitution or elimination. So for example, if we use elimination, how do we do that? We can just subtract, no, this second equation from the first equation. So that becomes A minus A, that's 0. B minus 2B, that's negative B. Let's do it the other way around, so we're not dealing with negatives. So let's have this equation, and then we subtract this one. So that's negative minus A plus B is equal to 28. So take note that we have to subtract. So 1A minus A is just 0. 2B minus B is just B. And then 37 minus 28 is just equal to 9. And the question is how many $2 coins, right? So that's B. So any questions for this one? You can either use elimination or substitution for this, okay? So number 28. How many two-digit numbers is or are there such that the number contains the digit 2? What's your answer? We have differing answers. Some are saying 38, 19, but a lot of you are saying 18. So let's solve. So we can just list them, no? What are the two-digit numbers that have the digit 2? So of course, we have the numbers 20, 21, 22, and so on up to 29. And then we have the numbers 12, 32. So we don't include we already have the 20s here now. So 12, 32, 42, 52, 62, up to 92. So these are all of the numbers, no, that contain the digit 2. So that means if we count them, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are 8 numbers. How about this one? The way we count them, we can just have 29 minus 20 plus 1. So that's just equal to 10. So we have a total of 18 numbers. So that is as straightforward as we can, no? Any questions for this?
No.
Okay. So let's have 29. It is given that the total weight of 3 apples and 3 melons is 1,800 grams. The weight of a melon is the same as that of 4 apples. What is the weight of 1 apple? So by now, you're already familiar with simple algebra, no? So we can just use A for apples and M for melons to make it simpler for us. So you will have 3A plus 3M is equal to 1,800, right? That's our first equation that we get from the first sentence. And then for the second one, the weight of a melon is the same, or another way of saying is just equal to 4 apples, so 4A. So we can just use this and substitute it to the first equation, no? So this one becomes 3A plus 3 times M, which is just equal to 4A, is equal to 180, right? So 3 times 4A is just 12A. Again, just rewriting 180. So 3 plus 12 is just equal to 15A equals 180. Sorry, 1,800, not 180. So A is just equal to 1,800 over 15, and that's equal to 120. Same solution of chicken and legs. So any questions for this problem? As long as you can write, no? So by now you should be familiar with how to write a word problem into an equation, no? So note this, that we rewrote this one. 3 apples and 3 melons total weight is equal to 1,800 grams. So we wrote that as an equation, no? By using the variables a and m. So now we are now with the final problem. There are 42 students in grade 5. Each student has to choose. Okay, so someone is again speaking, no? Please mute your microphones at all times. I don't have to keep reminding you of that. So final problem, what's your answer? There are 42 students in grade 5, and each student has to choose at least one ball game. 29 and 28 students like playing basketball and volleyball respectively, and then find the number of students who like both ball games. We can use inclusion, exclusion, right? You guys are already familiar with this one? Inclusion, exclusion, principle. So we can write this as A union B is equal to A plus B minus A intersection B. So you can also use Venn diagram. So this is just one way of dealing with sets, no? Either Venn diagram or using union, intersections, and other set operations. So this one, this is A union B is the number of students. How do we interpret this? Number of students who like at least one game. At least one game. Right? And then A intersection B is what? These are the number of students. Number of students who like both games, right? Because it's intersection. So that means that they like both games for intersection. Because for this, by the way, A for me, A is for basketball. Students who like basketball, students who like basketball. And then B is for volleyball, okay? That's how I use this, no? So A is for students who like basketball and B is for those who like volleyball. So notice that what we want to find is those who like both games. So what we want to find is this one, no? So A union B is a number of students who like at least one game. But notice that from our given, each student has to choose at least one ball game. So that means that all 42 of them, no? At least one ball game. So this is just equal to 42. And then A, how many students like basketball? 29, right? And then for volleyball, we have 28 students. So we only have to find this, A intersection B. So this is just equal to, if you transpose to the left side, you will have 29 plus 28 minus 42. This is equal to what? 29 plus 28 minus 42. So this is just equal to 15. Right? So you can just also use the, what do you call this? The Venn diagram method, no?
Yes, sir.
So this is 15 that like both games, no? So this would be 14 who only like basketball, and this one for the volleyball, right? For a total of 42 students. So that's our last problem. So because we still have 8 minutes left for our session, you guys can now ask your questions, no? Regarding all of the problems.
You have any question?
Oh, so by the way, I already got an answer, no? From the one we was it Noah who mentioned for problem number 14?
Yes.
So I already got information. I already got information from admin that no, it should not include negative factors. Okay? For HCHEMO, just for HCHEMO final round, just take note that we're not considering negative factors. So you don't make the mistake, okay? So Michaela wants to ask a question. How do you use the Venn diagram method? So, wait a bit. Matt uh, uh, ask, when will the video be sent? So I actually don't know, no? But you can just wait for it or you can ask admin. But this video will be uploaded later. I only did 29 plus 28. Oh guys, please stop sending unnecessary messages for now because I'm reading the questions. Someone asked how to use the Venn diagram method. So, di ba you have 42 all in all? For example, you have 42 all in all. So, you have 29 for A and 28 here. So, that includes the middle ground, right? So, how can you have 29 and 28? 29 in A and then 28 in B, but you have 42 in total. So, we will still get the same solution, no? 29 plus 28 minus 42. You just didn't write it this way if you use the Venn diagram. But you will still have the same solution that 29 plus 28 minus 42 is equal to 15. Okay? Because we have 29 who likes basketball, 28 who likes volleyball. So you will have a total of 57. But you only have 42 students. So that's just 57 minus 42. Okay, Noah wants to ask a question.
You
Oh,
said
by the
that
way. Yes, Noah?
you said
Um,
that we would do question 1 again because we didn't fully include it in the recording.
Yes. So let's go back. Oh, by the way, some people or some of you guys asked me if you can leave. So because we've already finished our discussion, so you guys can leave na, no? For those who want to. But Noah requested that we have problem number 1. So bye now. Bye for those who will leave now. But for
teacher,
those who wants
teacher,
to stay to ask a question, yes.
can you do 5 again?
Wait a bit, no. We still have problem number 1. So we first come first serve because Noah asked first. So for problem number 1, let's have this again. Sorry. So bye now. Bye for those who will leave now. Thanks for joining our discussion and good luck in the competition. So let's have problem number 1 so that we will include it in the recording. Again, for number 1, notice that our digits should be non-zero and it should be divisible by 5. So B, which is our units digit, it should either be 0 or 5 to be divisible by 5, right? But then it should be non-zero. So we only have 5. So you're welcome, no? Everyone who will leave now. You're welcome. Thanks as well. So we only have 5. But then should be a square number. So we can try, no? 5 squared, this is 25. The next number that has a units digit of 5 is 15, right? But if you square 15 squared, you will get what? 15 squared is equal to 225. But now that's a 3-digit number, no? So that's incorrect. So the only number that meets both of our or all of our requirements is 25. So you guys, that's also very useful, no? That you made Discord so that you guys can share your knowledge. I think it's actually helpful that you guys make friends or join groups because it's you will learn a lot together. So anyone still have a question? Oh, by the way, someone asked for number 5, no? So for this one, you can just review our recording, no? What we did here, just to summarize, we just did the operations backwards. So because we ended at dividing by 9 and the result is 16, so the opposite of that is multiplication. So we just did it backwards. Okay? Anyone has a question still? So if there are none, for those that are left, can I ask you guys to please, all of you, please turn on your camera so that we can have a group picture. So I forgot not to ask a group picture when we still had everyone here. So unfortunately, some of you already left, but that's fine.